Hey, and welcome back to another video. This is really an exciting video because we now have a bridge between Twinmotion and Unreal Engine. Really exciting. So I'm gonna, hopefully go through the entire process with you and not just put up a tutorial that Unreal and Epic Games puts up themselves. I will have that, and I'll link that as well as where to get this beta in the description below because that's important. You need to know where to get it. And I really want to do a good job of showing you how to get it set up. And just keep in mind, it's a beta. This is me doing it for the first time as well. So we're going to see what happens and I'll fill you in on anything that comes up. But before we get into it, demolish that like button. Really do that. It helps me out a lot. Also, subscribe. That does as well. Okay. So Twinmotion is great. We all know it. We all love it. And, maybe you want to take it a step farther. Maybe you want to use Unreal Engine. And for someone like myself, that sounds great. I haven't used Unreal Engine to the fullest extent. I've used it in the past, but not lately. I've mainly been using Twinmotion for what it is, the ease of it, and what it has just out of the box is really nice. But let's say you want to use Twinmotion, like I do, and you want to use all that information that's already there and real easy to use, and you just throw it on your scene, throw it on your project, you're done. But you want to take it a step farther. Maybe you want to make it a real experience. Maybe you want to make it sort of like a game type experience. Maybe you want to set up a graphic user interface, a GUI, maybe something like that you want to set up to introduce a user to your project. That is all done within Unreal Engine, and it can do so much more than that. I'm just giving you a couple of examples. But this link is going to allow us to do what we want to in really any modeling program because those modeling programs can go into Twinmotion and take the knowledge of Twinmotion that we have, which is, again, it's a really easy program, putting it all together and sending that to Unreal. That's awesome. So the basic process is we'll have a project, we'll end up linking it together, and we'll have the capabilities of both. So I'll stop taking up your time, but let's get into it now. I'll have a link to this down below, and it's just all the information that goes into that. We could see that it's an Unreal Engine. We can look through here. We're going to take this scene that's in Twinmotion and then put it into Unreal. And then there it is. It's very simple. And I'll hopefully show you how simple that is. In the description down here, you'll see a download to the location that has all this information that you'll need. In a sense, you'll be downloading these really giant files, which is, it's kind of like another engine, if you will, but it's not quite. It's just a large file. And so make sure that if you've updated to 4.25 or 4.26, that you take these plugins according to the version you're using. In this case, I'm using 4.26, and so I've already downloaded that, and we're going to start to implement that. The biggest thing that you'll want to look at, and this is what I'm going to go through this in this entire video, is this instructions. We look at all these instructions. It is literally the instructions to how to get this to work. So you can say that it's kind of this video. I'm not just going to link you to these instructions. I'm going to go through this process with you and hopefully for you. And so you have a good understanding that whenever you do this yourself, it's pretty simple. So we'll have these 3 different folders that we need to work with that I have downloaded already will be those giant files, or a part of that giant file. And we'll end up placing those within our particular project or our engine. In this case, I'll put it in my engine because to my knowledge, that will allow us to use this on other projects. And then we'll set up our Unreal project, whatever. So anyways, we looked at this, but let's actually set up our project. So again, I'm in 4.26. Just make sure you have the right version. This doesn't really matter. It's just almost like what you start off with out of the box. But because I'm an architect, because we're looking at mainly architecture stuff, let's go ahead and start with architecture. Hit next. And do we want a blank scene? Doesn't matter. That's fine. Do we want ArcViz? It's gonna set up like a day night kind of thing. It's nice. The biggest thing here is that all of these allow you to use Datasmith to import models. And I only bring that up because this link from Twinmotion to Unreal is through Datasmith. Datasmith, all it really is, it's kind of a mass importer, and it's mainly used for Unreal Engine, to my knowledge, of BIM data, building information, modeling data. It's taking all that data and bringing it in as if, imagine you bring in a Revit project and you export it as an FBX, and then you bring that into Unreal. Well, you won't have any of that data, nothing that says what an element is out of Revit in Unreal. It's just an FBX. It's a mesh. It's a model. It doesn't do anything. There's nothing smart to it. Datasmith will allow you to bring that info in from Revit or other modeling programs that have that kind of BIM data into a program like Unreal, and because you probably want to utilize that data as well. The nice thing about Twinmotion is that through the link from Revit or whatever program to Twinmotion, that data is already brought in based on how you import. It's great. But they could have set up this way where you have this geometry import, basically, where Twinmotion goes into Unreal, but it's just geometry. Now, of course, that's what this is as well, but we wouldn't want just that. We'd want the data also, which is what this Datasmith is going to allow us to do. Now, there's not a whole lot that we need to do. It's something that's there and that exists, and that is a part of our import process. So I'll just use ArcViz. That's fine. With starter content, content's fine. Ray tracing is disabled. That's fine too. And where do I want to save it? Well, I'll save it in this location, and we'll just save it in this location. And I will call this Twinmotion to Unreal. Twinmotion to Unreal. Okay. And then create project. And at this point, we'll create our project. And I will save you the trouble of waiting for this to initialize, because this might take a minute. Now, with this initialized, we have our scene here. It is continuing to load. As you can see, here we go. It's starting to load. It comes in. It's just nice. I'll end up deleting some of these things. I don't necessarily need them, but it's a nice, more or less blank scene. And I don't necessarily need most of these things or any of them really, but it's a nice blank scene with the sun, sky. It's a good place to start with as far as out of the box goes. And so we've got some plugins that we need to deal with, because those are the plugins that we need to use. Now, if you have a convenient button down here that says Manage Plugins, you can do it, or you could find the plugins and edit plugins, which we'll find it here. Now, we won't find our plugins here yet because we haven't dealt with them. So now we'll go to, we want to make sure this is going to our Unreal Engine. If you want to put it in the engine, or you could put it in the specific project. If you don't want to deal with it in any other project, I will just put it in the engine. So you'll find that in your program files, Epic Games, and then your version of Unreal Engine, which we're using, is 4.26, engine, and then plugins. And so we've got all of our plugins here. We don't need to do anything, but I'm extracting. So I will just extract all those to that location. So finally, those are extracted into our plugins folder, and we can now find them in Unreal. So we can go to Edit and Plugins, and we don't actually see them in the installed folder until we restart our project, which is just the way it is. So I'll close the project and we will get it back open again. And with our scene reopened, we can see that there are new plugins available. We can manage plugins there, or go to Edit and Plugins. And we go to Installed, and we can see there's our new Datasmith Twinmotion importer and Twinmotion Base and Twinmotion Content. Those are all the names of those folders that we needed to download and extract into our plugins folder. We can see they're all here and working. Cool. This is what we wanted to see. So great. Okay. So we're at this point. Let's probably go ahead and get rid of these few objects that we don't necessarily want to see. These text and objects, whatever, not a huge deal. But that's fine. We'll start with this at least, and we'll go from there. We can start to import everything that we want to from Twinmotion. And with these plugins here, we just simply need to enable them. We'll get a pop-up that says plugin, Datasmith, whatever, is a beta version. Yes, we know this. Are you sure you want to continue? Yeah, of course. That's what we're here. That's why we're here. And of course, again, we'll now need to restart, but I want to make sure that I enable all of these first. Once I do this, that is great. And we will restart now. I'll make sure and save, and once this is restarted, we'll be up and running actually. So my scene is now reloaded, and we can see that these are all enabled as we need them to be. That's good to go. And now we just need to import, like literally import. And we'll do that through the Datasmith button up here, which, like before I said, we are going to end up using the Datasmith. And Datasmith allows us to import data from all types of programs. I mean, you can see tons of different programs here. But the key thing to be aware of is that beforehand, I didn't show this beforehand, but we did not have the option of using Twinmotion, which that's the whole reason we're here. We can import Twinmotion files. So we'll go to Twinmotion, and I'm going to go and navigate to my specific project that I'm going to open, and I'm going to just click open. And so we've got a couple of things that we can do here. There's a lot of information that is in this file, but really we don't need to worry about this so much because it's going to bring in our scene. We'll hit OK. And then if you are familiar with Datasmith, you're probably used to seeing something like this. And it's just the basic import options that we get with Datasmith. And of course, we want our geometry. It's just choosing what you want. In this case, I want my geometry. I want my materials and textures. I want my lights, cameras, and animations. That's great. Static mesh options. This is kind of important because, it's everything that we bring in that's considered geometry will also be considered a static mesh. And it's really the light map resolution. This has everything to do with the render time and the render quality coming out of Unreal. And, this is fine. You can keep this whatever you want. I would recommend that you generate the light map UVs just so that you're able to have all the lighting work out onto these imported objects really well, just out of the box. And so, again, I did nothing here. It's fine. So I'll just click import. And once this is done, this will take some time based on the size of your Twinmotion file. But even with a large file that I'm using here, this is still going pretty quickly. So with that finally done, we can see what we get here. We get some load errors, and really all I'm looking at is that there's some unsupported static mesh, and these are all the names of the characters that I have in the Twinmotion project. So my guess is that none of these people will come in, or this truck or whatever. Not a big deal. Then the material on the truck. Okay, not a big deal. I'll just clear that out. Cool. That's great. So we can close it, and we can see that I actually have the same hierarchy that I have in my entire Twinmotion project. This is a lot of stuff, but it's the same stuff. And this is coming from Revit, which is nice. So let's go ahead and try and find this information. So it looks like it's way up there. So I'll hit F, and here it is. It's my project. It looks pretty good. This is straight out of Twinmotion. It looks good. It's absolutely even some textures came in. Obviously we could see that some did not. Not exactly sure why that wasn't. And maybe that was a custom one that I made, even though I'm pretty sure custom materials should come in as well. It doesn't look like all the materials came in. Well, a good portion of them. I'm surprised that this multicolored metal that I made custom, that came in, looked pretty good. So, hey, it works. We got everything that we want. And it really didn't come in. It didn't take that long, 5-10 minutes. But, all our foliage looks good here too. This is literally my site. Of course, this is all water. The water didn't come in, which is kind of unfortunate. I wish that the water did, but cool. We have a good starting point. All of this is now within Unreal. Nice to know that. So something you might be wondering is, what happens if we are in Twinmotion and we want to change something? We want to, if you're coming from another program into Twinmotion and you make an update in that program, you probably want to update it in Twinmotion. It's really easy to do that, and Twinmotion is built and has integrations to where you can do that. Now, this from Twinmotion to Unreal is going to work the exact same way, and let's display that now. So I've got this giant TV that is serving to be our projector screen in here, and let's just literally just change the scale of it. It's fine that it's here, but I want to change the scale just to have something to update. Okay. And we'll change the scale here. Maybe we'll change this by, 50%. Okay. Once we make that change, it's floating, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and save our Twinmotion file because, of course, we need to do that. And once I save it, I can go back to Unreal Engine, and we'll show you how to essentially re-import this model and get this change updated. So here's my giant TV. There's my TV, my projector. You can see that basically all the textures came in too. They look pretty good, and they don't look quite the same as they do in Twinmotion, but they're pretty much there. It's getting the job done at least. So here is our giant TV that we just changed in Twinmotion. And so here's my Twinmotion file. I just simply need to right-click this and then re-import. Now, I can't say how long this will take, but the idea is that we're literally bringing everything back in and really overriding what we've changed. And hopefully, because we've changed so little, that it won't take that long. And we're going to find out. That's for sure. So again, I don't need to update this information unless for some reason I decide I don't want lights now, or I don't want something else now. Okay, so we'll import. And now it'll actually say re-importing, which is great. And it's going to go through this process. And again, I'll see you at the end of this, because who knows how long this will take. My hope is that not very long. All right. And we can see once again, we're getting some similar issues here. Again, all my people don't want to come in, but that's fine. I don't really care. I don't really care about that. We'll clear that and close it off. And we're flying out in the middle of nowhere for some reason. I'll hit F because I believe I'm still selecting that TV. And there we go. Look at that. I mean, it's updated. That was very simple. I clicked, 3 times? I saved my Twinmotion file, then I came in here and I re-imported this Twinmotion file. Very simple. And the nice thing is all the textures would come with it. If I had for some reason updated the textures in Twinmotion, that would come with it too. I didn't really have any on there, but we could see that, looks like a TV. It still looks the same, but looks good. Okay. I mean, look at that. Something else that is nice is using Datasmith. They actually have another plugin, which is the visual data prep. And all this is really doing is allowing you to set up what they call recipes for importing. So if you're kind of importing a bunch of different things at once, and let's say you are constantly importing this particular type of file, and from that file you need all the furniture. Well, you can set up a recipe in a way to where if you're looking at this type of file, it will import all of those furnitures. If basically it's choosing some sort of template for importing. That's kind of the very simple way of saying that. And the nice thing is that this visual data prep will now integrate Twinmotion files as well. So we can go through the same process that we did, but except use this visual data prep and get what we want out of a particular Twinmotion file. Again, that you have the option of doing that if you want to. Really nice stuff. So with that done, there's one last thing we can do, and that's just access all of the information, at least materials and stuff like that comes in with your Twinmotion file in Unreal Engine. So how can we do that? Well, we see our different folders here because I started an ArcViz project. We can see there's my folder for that. I've got my folder for my Twinmotion folder itself, like the file. And then I've got the starter content, which is the type of Unreal project that I started. And if we come up here, I can choose a path and I can see that those are my 3 folders. Well, there's actually a lot more here that we don't see. And we can go and see that through view options. And then we can do show engine content. And so whenever I choose this folder now, we can see we've got engine content and then engine C++ classes. So let's look at those. So engine content, there's a lot of information here. And that's all cool. And then engine C++ classes, again, there's a bunch here. Now, what we're looking for in particular has to do with Twinmotion. Now, I'm not exactly sure why I'm not seeing it, but I should see a Twinmotion to Unreal content folder here. And it might be that I need to restart or something, but you'll notice in the documentation for the beta that this information should be there. And within all that information is all of the materials and information like that came in with Twinmotion itself being integrated now with Unreal. This is what you're looking for in particular. There it is, Twinmotion to Unreal content by checking the show engine content. I've gone through this a couple times and it's not showing up for me. I don't know why. Hopefully you have better luck, and hopefully when I restart, I will see that, and you could see all the materials we're familiar with from Twinmotion. All of these do come in, and you can start to place those. Of course, they have all of their same maps and information that you can further edit in Unreal if you're interested in doing that. Cool stuff. Then finally, all this information will come in later. But the main thing now is that, again, this is all the information that will come out in the future. They're looking to have all this information be able to come in from Twinmotion so you can essentially build your scene how you want, and then bring it into Unreal to use all of Unreal's features that aren't technically the same, because we could do all of this within Unreal all along, but it's just a little more complicated, and it's not Twinmotion, and there was no really easy way of working with updating Revit files, for example, all the time, much less like Twinmotion, where it's so much easier to do that. So this is what we'll end up seeing in the future coming from Twinmotion into Unreal. And I mean, this about covers everything. You know, it's really everything you'd want to see, even the weather system comes in. So look forward to that in the future. Obviously, this is like beta version 0.1. So there are a number of updates that come out, and I'm sure there are a lot of different bugs and problems, maybe even crashes that you might have. So hopefully you don't, but just be aware that that's possible. A lot of things are subject to change before this plugin is like fully released. And my hope is that all of these things will come out pretty quickly, and we can start to see all these different elements coming from Twinmotion into Unreal really quickly, and that we have a full version of this plugin coming out very soon. So I'm curious if you are interested in me going through more Unreal Engine now that we have direct access to it. I'd be happy to do that, and I probably should do that. But leave that in the comment section below. Also, let me know if you had your own different kinds of problems, or if it works smoothly for you, or if you like it, or just your overall thoughts of using Unreal with a Twinmotion file. I'm kind of curious what that might be. So again, leave those in the comments below. Very curious. So we did it. We looked through this beta version of a bridge between a Twinmotion file and now bringing that into Unreal. Very cool stuff. That will do it for this video. If you did happen to learn something, which I hope you did, demolish that like button. Please do that. Also, consider subscribing. That also helps me very much. So if you look forward to other videos like this, like Twinmotion, like Revit, anything like that, do subscribe. We'll have lots more of those coming. So I hope to see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.